Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. As you can see, this time Currah Microspeech. Is that how you pronounce it? Currah? Yeah, I think it probably is. The interesting thing is this has come with one of these extenders, you know, so you can use multiple carts and things, you know, or expansions. They're quite rare, these. You can see this is a micro slot. So I don't know if that's focusing. Yeah, Currah micro slot. So yeah, these are quite hard to find. You can get other sort of third-party things that will work just the same, but you know, the idea is, I think, that end goes in your, this end here goes in your 48K Spectrum, and then you can plug the Microspeech there, or you can plug something else in there. So that's quite nice, actually. It's going to be totally passive, that, so I wouldn't imagine there's anything wrong with it other than perhaps some bad solder joints. This is tested as untested, you know, solder's untested. The person didn't have any way of testing it, so it may be faulty. This has got the same sound chip that I showed in a previous video. Actually, it was one that came in Alison Challis's stuff. So I've got a couple of spare chips for this. If I get the part number, I'll stick it up there. We'll have a look inside this later if we can. We might need to prise it apart, I'm not sure. Looks like it's press fitted. But right now, I think the first thing I'm going to do is just connect it up to the 48K Spectrum. I've got the tape with it here as well, and just see what happens, because as default it should be able to, it should work in basic. You shouldn't need to load anything. I think it will, it should, you know, do the text to speech thing just in basic as you type things in. Well, from memory. I remember my friend Andrew had one of these when I was younger. A good friend of mine. I used to go around to his house all the time, play on his 48K Spectrum, and he had the Microspeech and I didn't. So I've got the 48K Spectrum set up on its own. I just want to just test this. It's been in storage for a while. But yeah, screen's looking okay there. We can type and stuff. There's no sound through the TV, obviously it comes from the beeper. So I'll unplug it now and connect up the Microspeech. So the good news is it detected the ROM there. Can you see that at the top of the screen? 1983, I think it says. Yeah, speech system, Currah. So it has actually detected it. It's just a question of now whether we're getting sound output. Now, if I point you back at the expansion here, I'm not really sure what else to call it. It is an expansion, I guess. You can see there's a few connections. I think one that's supposed to go to your ear. It's a bit bent there, actually, could do with a new connector. It's supposed to go to your sound out on your Spectrum, and then I forget which way around this goes now. One of these is an in, and one of them's an out. It's like it works as a pass through. But I'm going to be using this. I want this to go through the TV ideally, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this here from Alison Challis, coming back to her again, connect up a phono in here, yeah, that's picking up noise, and we'll connect the other end here into the outputs on the back here. So I can sort of understand why this hasn't been tested, actually. Just reading some of the instructions now, I think what happens is you put your modulated RF signal into here, and then it's adding in the sound over the top of that, and then outputting RF again. I think that's what's happening. I could be wrong. I couldn't find a manual. I just found a few guides that just talked about, you know, what these connections were for. So I think we're going to need to prise this open and see if we can get tap the sound output of the sound chip there, and maybe just feed it straight to this. I'm not sure I'm ever going to use it in the way it was intended with RF and stuff. I don't think anyone ever would really. And I'll just stick a label on the back to say it's you know, audio out there. Might need a transistor or something to amplify the line level. We'll certainly isolate with a cap. I think it would be a bad idea just to connect the chip output straight there. But it'd be interesting to look inside this anyway, because I suspect this uses exactly the same chips that I've looked at before. I haven't shown it, but I've looked at the ones that Alison sent me. I think they both work okay, so you know, if there is a fault with that chip, we could replace it. There is a ULA built into these as well, I understand, and obviously the ROM, which you've seen it boots, it picks that ROM up. So there could be a fault with the ULA. Who knows, but I think in the first instance I'm just going to try and prise this open if I can. I might need to use some of those little plastic spudges or whatever they're called to try and get in there, because I don't want to damage it. Yes, I've been using some of these iPhone sills here. You can see it's just made a few little marks there, but it's coming apart. It's just really hard to get into, actually. So there we are. The interesting thing here, can you see? There's loads of the connections here that are not soldered on. it's like the pin's just sat on the trace and it's not soldered. So they've only soldered the connections they need to solder, which yeah, I'm not keen on actually. It's that's asking for trouble, you know, because with time connections can break and stuff. So I might just reflow all of those actually, just to make sure that these ones here anyway, just to make sure they've got a good fit. I'm guessing this piece here just comes off here. It's the same thing over that side. Can you see that? So just carefully put that back on. So you can see the chip. I think you can see the chip. There it is. It's the SP0256AL2. Those are the exact same chips that were in Ali's collections, 2 of these. So I've got spares for this. I'm guessing that's going to be the ROM. It could be the ULA. I could have those around the wrong way. I'm guessing that's going to be the ROM just because it's a smaller chip. So, ooh, look at that there. That's nasty. See that transistor? Just down here, can you see its legs are all squished together? I'm amazed that would have ever worked, actually, the way it's on there. 2 of the pins on this side here are pretty much touching. So I'll straighten those out. But then what I'm going to do is just look at the data sheet for this chip, find the audio output, run it through the cap, 220 microfarad or something, and then just feed it out to the connector there. I'll desolder the centre pin. I think I need to work out where that's going. Have a look on the underside of the board, and then reassemble it and test it. So looking at the pinouts here, PWM out, pulse width modulation out, that's going to be the sound output, pin 24. So I think that's where I need to join up. And looking at this here, this resistor on the right hand side is what feeds the centre connection there on that RCA phono connector. So if I just lift that resistor out and then just join up a wire from there to pin 24 on this chip, we should be good. Well, I'll put a cap in between in series, 220 microfarad, and then we should be good to test. So I temporarily removed the cap. I was having problems, and actually it was the battery in this. You'll see now if I just press return. I'll see if I can show you this actually. Press return. So obviously everything you type on the screen here, sorry that's zoomed way too close. Everything you type, it obviously speaks.
No word. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 8, 9, no word.
And feeding it through the TV there, that's working as well. So it had to be done. Yeah, unfortunately I couldn't get it to say, would you like to play a game of thermonuclear war? I'll show you you've got to use phonemes or whatever they're called, and it's really difficult. You can see there, to get greetings, I had to use the double E within brackets. I'm not sure why. I need to try and find a manual for this. But the Professor Falcon bit read OK, which is interesting. So the next thing we're going to try and do with this is connect this up with the divide E. Now I don't know whether that's a good idea or a bad idea. I don't know whether the two are going to coexist actually. But I'm going to give it a try. I'll make sure the divide E is set to 48k mode, and I'll use this adapter here, and we'll connect the two up, and I'll perhaps load a game or two, and we'll just see what happens. So the two don't coexist. I'll show you very briefly here. Nothing. So I wouldn't want to leave that on for very long actually, just in case you've got a short or something somewhere on one of those, on the buses or something. But yeah, I'll just test my divide E, just make sure it's not broken that. Yeah, the divide E seems okay I think. So yeah, the two can't coexist, so you can't use divide E. Well, not this particular divide E, maybe the one from the future is 8-bit. I might have a chat with that guy actually, I forget his name now, and just see whether he's tested it or not, whether it'll work, or whether it's just an incompatibility because of the way that the divide E works. So I'll try adding my cat back on in series. Just one point here, I think that's 7805 or something, and it gets absolutely red hot. That needs a heatsink on it. I'm amazed they didn't actually mount that on the board or something. I mean, there's nowhere to put it. I guess that's the problem. So a bit of a correction to a comment earlier on, actually. They're not press fitted, they're glued. So I just put a tiny, tiny little drop, I mean literally a drop in each corner, so that I can eventually at some point get back into it if I want to. But yeah, that's stuck back together now. So I'll stick a label on the back here, and I'll label up these just to say no longer used. There we are, job complete. So I've got a sound label on the back and then a not applicable there for those. So yeah, all done. So I'm sorry there wasn't much I was able to show you there. I need to clean this up. You know, it's all stuff I've shown before. You know, you can get a cotton bud in there with some IPA to clean up the connector, and then some folded paper or card into there with a bit of IPA, you know, to clean up. And the same on here as well. I'll do that. But yeah, it's working all okay. I just can't load stuff from the Div IDE here. I wonder if there's another solution. I'm not sure. So you can see the screen there, and I've powered the Arduino up. So I'll click play, so just give that a sec, that should now start loading. It's just like, is it Moon Patrol? That's what, I can't remember that's what this is called, is it Moon Patrol? Must be like an official release or something. I think there was an arcade game by the same name, wasn't there? Where you just got to avoid the craters. Like that, and obviously any obstacles and things. Yeah, pretty basic, and obviously really basic use of sound there. It's just like telling you when you've yeah, you know, start of each round and stuff, and presumably when we get game over. Let's just see what happens when we get the game over. Just let it crash.
Game over, claimer, have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Yeah. The interesting thing with the Spectrum is at some point what I might do is do a mod so that to route the sound out through you know, an RCA/phono jack to the TV, because obviously it's got a stereo channel. This TV, it's got two inputs. I could do that and, you know, run the sound through its own lead. Because the moment, so just coming from a Spectrum, if I just show you, move the camera a bit nearer, you can hear it. So yeah, it's pretty quiet really compared to the speech that's coming from the TV. So as you can see, this is Lunar Lander. Yeah, chocks away. Yeah, it's not very appropriate really, because chocks were used to hold the wheels on planes, weren't they? I think they probably still are actually. And you press L. I think it says Retro's Fire or something. I think it means like the engines, you know. That gets quite annoying, especially if you hold the key down. But I'm not quite sure how you get the people and get back up, but anyway, that's besides the point. At least you get the idea of how it's used there. I'll just show you one or two more games. So this game's particularly interesting in the sense that it's quite unique, that when you load it, if you've got the Currah Microspeech, you get a different game. I think it's a completely different game. So I'm not sure, I think it's just from the same load. I think if you load this on a straight 4080 Spectrum, you get one game. If you load it on the Microspeech, you get another. So I might just try that. We'll load it now with the Microspeech and just see what happens. And then I might just try reloading it just to see what we get. Okay, so just to find the keys, Z, X, Q, A, into room, start the game. Kind of reminds me of Scuba Diver actually, this. Well, a little bit. I'm not sure what the purpose is, just swim along and avoid things, got no idea. Do we collect the little fish? Yeah, I think we're supposed to collect the little fish. Quite what this has got to do with pirates and things, I don't know, apart from the pirate boats at the top there. Yeah, and that music on the short repeat there would drive you nuts. It's driving me nuts already. So as I say, out of interest, loading this again, but this time without the Currah Microspeech connector, just to see what we get. Is it going to be exactly the same, or is it going to be different as I've read? So that's loaded. On first inspection it looks just the same to me. Find the keys again. Start it. Oh yeah, this is different. So yeah, this is completely different. I'm not sure what you're going to do here. That says 4 on it. Presumably that, okay, that opens the door. Okay, I get it. Each key has got a number on it. It says 7. Where's the 7? Okay, it's down the left. So somehow I've got to get past him. And then across here, I think. Two. Where's 2? Oh god. Yeah, anyway, that game is much better. So it's bizarre, isn't it, really? If you got the Microspeech and you got this game with it, you know, or for it, I'd be tempted to play without the Microspeech actually, because you get a better game. So there we go. Managed to load Terrahawks. So if I press a key, we should get some speech, I think. Yeah, welcome to Terrahawks by Richard Sale. I think it reads the copyright out next.
Copyright 1984, Computer House Limited.
So yeah, pretty cheesy. Let's just press a key. 1 to return to main menu. Start the game.
Terrahawks.
I think that was supposed to say Terrahawks. It sounds like it's a Tropworks or something. It's, it's pretty poor. Press A, I think that switches up, out, on, off. Hang on, we've got to start it somehow first. I'm not sure what the key is you press to get going. Hang on, I'm pressing everything here at the moment. There we go. Press A. Yeah, so you can toggle autopilot on or off. Gives you some speech there. Other than that, I'm not sure on this game because I honestly do not know what the controls are. I've not got a joystick connected at the moment to this. So there you go, Blade Alley from PSS. Hang on a sec, what do we need to do? Don't want joystick. It says press fire for play. I'm not sure what the fire button is. Space. Yeah, so that's quite annoying actually because the keys actually reads them out. So Q. How'd you go right? P, okay. And obviously it reads out the enemies. You can just about hear the sound in the background there. Yeah, very annoying. So yeah, there's no real sort of flagship games or anything on the Spectrum that you would perhaps want to, you know, play that make use of this really. Although it's not a bad game probably, but I think the Microspeech perhaps is annoying, if anything. But I imagine you'd probably be pretty wild with this as a kid back in the day. Something else worth pointing out while I'm here as well is, can you see that? That's when it connected. I've had this a fair bit with it. I found if you don't push it all the way in, just pull it back a little bit. I've got a bite there on my hand from the cats. And switch it on. It then works alright. It was a bit like that when I was doing that 32X repair actually. I found that if you put it all the way in, it wouldn't work. And I think what it is the solder mask. You know, on the cartridge slot connectors, if you like, you know, they've got solder over the traces there, and it goes oxidised and stuff and dull at the point where it's made a physical connection. You just pull it back a bit, and you're making a connection on a bit that's not really had an electrical connection before. So yeah, I thought that was worth mentioning as well. If you get one of these and you plug it in, and you get weird blocks and things like that. Just pull the cart out a tiny little bit. Obviously, make sure it's still perfectly straight aligned. But a lot of the time, that can get it working. Yeah, so not a particularly useful piece of gaming history, but you know, it's interesting nevertheless. And as I say, you know, I kind of had nostalgia for the Currah Microspeech. You know, going back to my friend Andrew I mentioned earlier, he had one, and every time I went round there, I'd look at it with sort of envious eyes, thinking, I wish I had one of those. You know, I wasn't missing out on anything, as you can see, but you know, it's just nice to have, I guess. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.